All right. We are going to get started here, and I'm very pleased to welcome Chelsea Pagan, partner at Hepner and Pagan LLP. It's a boutique family law firm in the San Jose, California area. Chelsea and her team focus on mediation services as well as divorce. And their firm aims to educate people about the value of keeping your cases out of court. So, talk about a niche practice. And that enables the clients to keep control of the process, avoid messy court battles and expensive lawyer bills. Chelsea has taken her passion for educating people on how to separate in a more graceful and respectful way and apply that to sharing the value of premarital planning and the importance of prenup agreements. So Hepner and Pagan continues to build their practice to best serve their clients' needs while finding new ways to automate the process, in turn keeping costs down to clients and allowing the firm to serve more people at once. Having great systems, setting strict boundaries with clients is what allows Chelsea, her business partner, and her staff to work reasonable hours and enjoy the lives they have outside of the office. It's my pleasure to present Chelsea Pagan.
All right. Thank you so much, LA, for that introduction. I really appreciate it. I'm so excited to talk today. And I love that I came right after Jim because I feel like I actually use him as an example when I talk later because having a network of resources and other lawyers that you can brainstorm with, gather information from, and I'll let him know that I said this later, but Jim has many more years experience than I do. But it comes from a very different perspective. And so I feel like you're going to see a little bit of overlap, but from a different approach that our firm takes and I personally take running my family law practice. So I feel like this is a perfect combination. I often joke that family law kind of trapped me, and now I have like Stockholm syndrome and don't want to get out. And while family law can sometimes seem draining to lawyers who aren't in that day-to-day grind, or people who aren't even lawyers who are just either going through the process or not, the burnout from a lot of lawyers comes from the actual practicing of law. And one of the things that I always promised myself and my business partner and I talked about a lot was ways in which we were going to make sure that didn't happen to us. It wasn't going to happen or it wasn't going to happen to us. Like we've seen it happen to other people where, 5, 10 years into their business, they're hitting that burnout. And so we really took our business knowledge and wanted to build a business that happened to provide legal services. And of course, we are lawyers still practicing in our firm as well. So my topic today really focuses on how you can scale your law firm, make a lot of money, not work excessive amount of hours, and thrive overall, both professionally, feeling challenged and accomplished, but definitely personally. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background and kind of where we got here. But when I started my firm in 2018, I'd only been licensed for about 3 years. I was really just focused on having a life that allowed me, my husband, and my dogs to have a good time, travel. Um, and I didn't want to work weekends, didn't want to work nights. We weren't planning on having kids. So I was just preparing for a lifestyle of accessibility and adventure. A little bit of a spoiler alert. I now have a 2.5-year-old. So I'm in a totally different chapter of my life in toddler mode. But it's safe to say that my priorities changed from opening day to where we are now 6 years later, but not by much. I want my daughter to have the same access to adventure and life that we were, planning for ourselves before we decided to bring her into our family. That allows me to pick up and go when I want, volunteer in our classroom, play hooky and go to the beach on a Tuesday if I want to, but also have a business that I'm proud of and clients who are happy with the services that they're being provided. And it is possible to have a business that thrives and employs other people and makes you a strong living without feeling like you're giving up something else. And we all know in the law firm game, you're going to have weeks where things are a little bit busier than others, and maybe you don't have as much flexibility, but it's all about how you frame things and how you plan. So I'm going to go back a little bit and kind of give you some information about why I think our approach to how we run our business is different than a lot of our colleagues. I've had a lot of conversations with colleagues and I learn from them, but I also learn what I don't want to do from these conversations as well. And so when I was thinking about starting my firm, so originally in 2017, I went to my now business partner and I said, hey, I'm feeling stuck professionally. I'm not feeling challenged as much as I'd want to. I'm working for somebody else, making them a lot of money and not having that autonomy over my hours. I'm ready to do this. She was not so ready at the time. So I waited a little bit longer because I knew really she was the right partner for me. And in 2018, I knocked on her door and I said, hey, it's now or it's now. And luckily I was able to get her on board and we were able to get things going pretty quickly. But I always say that, opening a law firm can be scary. Sustaining it is a whole different chapter. But I remember thinking that was the scariest decision I was going to make, was to leave my W-2 job and open up my own firm. But I think we each came like out of pocket like $5,000. We had a WordPress website, and on June 25th, 2018, we were ready to go. And once we were in it, it wasn't that scary. Now, since then, we've had to make a lot of changes to keep building. And some of those changes have been, in my mind, risky, scary. But it really came down to that easy progression, right? The beginning, you do it all, right? For anybody that's either started solo or started a new practice, you kind of know, or maybe you're thinking about it, and I'm telling you that this is what it looks like. You do a lot, right? We were the bookkeepers, we were the marketing department, we were the receptionist, the paralegal, we were everybody because we didn't want to spend the money to do it as we were building clients. I think initially we only had about 20 clients. And so well, I remember that was kind of fun at the time, doing it all and juggling it and learning. It's also pretty exhausting, and you're doing very little lawyering. And you're also not running a business in the same way that you'll eventually need to run it. And we hit a point 6 months in where we were like, if we keep doing this, we're not going to be able to make more money because we're giving away time for free. In the sense that when we're doing bookkeeping, we're answering the phones, we're not charging our hourly rate, making the firm any money. So slowly we added a receptionist. Then we added our first senior attorney in 2019, who's still with us. And we're so thankful for that. And by the end of 2019, we still were holding on to a little. We were still a little adverse to spending money. And we got to a point where we were comfortable enough. We had some money in the bank and we said, okay, maybe it's time to invest here. And so we were getting ready for a big 2020 year. And of course, we all know COVID hit and we had to pivot. We watched a lot of our colleagues at that time when COVID hit tighten their belts, fire employees, get rid of office spaces, kind of shut down their practice, minimize things. And it was all kind of this running scared feeling that I did not want to have. There's one feeling I never like as a business owner, and that's feeling like my back's against the wall. I don't have a choice. And so we did the opposite. That's really when we decided to invest a substantial amount of money into our practice and take huge risks. We hired a law firm specialized marketing team. We brought on a new CPA. We brought on bookkeepers, again, that specialize in legal bookkeeping, so they know how to deal with IOLTAs and all the tracking that requires. And we poured money into other services. Weirdly enough, in 2020, that was our biggest growth year of a 20% increase in gross profits. And we felt like we figured something out. And that's really the point in which I feel like our practice went from, early stages, oh, we're just opening up, we're a new form, to where we are now, where I feel like we're established and we have a voice and we have something to share. And so I'm going to kind of outline what I think are the key pivotal decision-making, decisions that we had to make that has allowed us to scale our firm while also not sacrificing time off, time away. So I'm going to share my screen, even though this is more just for aesthetics more than anything. So I think that you guys can see everything there. Let me make sure. Okay, so let me see, make sure. Okay, we're going. Okay, so like I said, 2020 was our biggest building year. We brought on a lot of people, and then we had to start figuring out, what does the rest of our team look like, right? It's not just the people outside. So the number one pivotal decision we started making that every firm needs to focus on is you have to have the right team, right? The importance of identifying and hiring A players. This is not just A players inside of your firm. These are A players outside of your firm. These are the CPAs, the bookkeeper, the business coaches, all of these people that are going to do the jobs that they're really good at, right? Like I'm not good at taxes, right? I'm not good with numbers in general. That's why I hire all sorts of experts. But they are better at what they do. And I'm also going to pay them less than the hourly rate I can charge for my time. So it's a waste of my time. It's not cost effective, right? On top of the fact that I want A players inside of my firm who are going to do the job we're asking them to do and do it well and care about the job that they're doing so that they can build their own success, whether that's within our firm or for whatever future endeavors they want to explore. Because at the end of the day, we want them to be successful, whether that's with us or not. And they're learning from us, adapting skills. And so I highly, highly recommend taking an overview of the A players you have both inside and outside of your firm and making sure that those people are in place, because once they're in place, that's going to allow you to get all that additional time. And I'm glad I was able to see through Jim's, because Jim touched a lot on these different topics. So the purpose of kind of highlighting and also kind of going back over these is to show you why these are so pivotal so that you can do all the fun things that I'm going to talk about as well. The other piece of this is delegating versus micromanaging. It's hard, let me tell you, and I struggle with it as well. It has taken me a while to have that mental shift of trusting my team to handle important tasks, right? The newer associates that we bring on, even the senior associate, when I hand over a case that is a client who retained me, who is trusting me, those are big decisions. And so it's never easy to let go when your name's on the wall. I get that. But if you trust your staff and you trust your players, they're going to feel that. And then they're going to want to do a good job for their clients. They're going to feel like that's them. You're giving them the autonomy to grow. And the biggest thing that I see is when I let them try on their own and I give them feedback instead of criticism, right? Like, oh, here's some things that I use. Here's things that I think might help you keep things in order, keep organized. But just because they don't do it exactly like me, one, nobody's going to do it exactly like you. And it doesn't mean it's necessarily the right way, right? It's just how you prefer to do it. But it's your job to give them the tools to do it as similar to you as possible, but with their own touch, with their own experience. That is what's going to make them great lawyers as well, and great administrators, staff support, paralegals, whatever it is, right? Now, when it comes to the micromanagement, you also have to discuss how this has freed you up to focus on the higher level work that's going to give you the ability to run the business better and take time off, right? I talked briefly that we brought in a new associate in 2019 so we could bring on more cases at a higher billable rate than like a law clerk, a paralegal. We know a lot of people that bring on lots of paralegals or law clerks. We never found that to be the smart fit for our type of firm. I'd rather pay the malpractice insurance and bring on lots of lawyers to bill at a high rate. But now in 2024, we have 3 attorneys under the 2 partners, and we're in the process of bringing on a 4th. And that's a lot of billable hours to fill up. So I need to have enough time to bring in the new cases, right? To do the consults, to manage the business itself. So I've got to let it go. And are things sometimes not going as smoothly or didn't go the way maybe I thought I could have got it done? Sure, that's always going to happen. You got to get over it. I've gotten over it, that's for sure. And our team has been pulled into the goals of the firm so that they're buying in. So when they're doing the work so that I can take time away, whether that's for personal vacation time, because they get that as well. They don't have to worry about the business running when they're gone, or take time away so that I can meet with my business partner, meet with my business coach. All of these things benefit everybody that we have. They benefit the end game of being able to pay bigger salaries, do more things as a team building, team travel, attendance at MCLEs that they want to do. These are all things that allow you to be a little bit more hands-off, but you got to trust your team and let them do it. The other piece of this is creating systems. automating as many processes as you possibly can, including investing in technology and different systems that allow you to work from anywhere, is crucial. We have evolved our systems so many times. Feels like every year we're evolving systems or changing the way that we do things. And that's okay. It doesn't have to be the same system all the time, but you got to do it in a way that allows your team to buy in, learn the process, and adapt to the needs of why that system's in place. And we always ask our team, hey, how does this need to be tweaked? Is there a better way? Do you think that this is a better way? And mostly they'll tell us like, hey, this isn't working for us, or we don't think this is as efficient. We say, great, well, how do we change it? Listening to their voice so that we can implement systems that actually benefit, one, our clients, but two, they make things more efficient so that we can build for actual legal work and not just sitting there inputting numbers, right? We have a detailed onboarding manual, not only in the form of like our employee handbook that tells everybody where everything is. We use Trello, so it's always easily updated and can evolve in real time versus a PDF that you have to edit, reprint. Again, just not as efficient. But we also have an onboarding manual for our attorneys, our staff. So anybody new comes in, sits at a desk, they review their employee manual, it walks them through that. Then they go into the onboarding. They have click through options so that they can learn our processes. And we can reference those systems anytime we need so that they're in place. Now, it's not a perfect system. We all know that. Things can break down and mistakes are made. I've made those mistakes myself where I'm telling my staff like, wait, what did I do? Did I do that wrong? And they're telling me, yeah, you've been doing that wrong for about a month. And I go, oh gosh, okay, keep me back on track. But again, I hire those A players to keep me on track. And so we always have to be checking, how can our systems be better? What's missing? Is there a breakdown? Is there a hole? Because the stronger that system is, the more time that you're going to get on the back end. And we review these systems annually. We talk at our regular meetings and figure out what we need to change. But having intake systems, onboarding systems, calendaring and case management trackers, bill collections, and closing cases, all of these things should be automated. There should be a known way we do it. It should not be a question. It's a waste of time if you don't. So really important, building the right team full of A players, outside and inside. Delegating versus micromanaging. Stop micromanaging your team. Let it go. Let them get on. If they're A players, they're going to do it the way that you've taught them to do it. And they're also going to adapt it. So it's probably more efficient. I've got a lot of people in my office that do things better than I do. And creating those systems. Review the systems that you have in place and figure out what can be tweaked. Okay, now the fun part. I do not work more than 40 hours a week. It's often less. I don't work on Fridays. That's not a case day. I often focus on business management and develop on Fridays. We close our office at 1:00. There is no need, right, for us to take up that type of time in our lives just working. I can make the type of money that I'm making in 40 hours or less, and so can my staff. My staff is really working more than that. They don't need to. It's not the efficient way to do it. We maximize our 9 to 5 time so it is as billable as possible. And the services that we offer and the way we package things, all of these things are going to benefit you. But there's a couple of things that I think are important that allow me to only work 40 hours a week so I'm most efficient. Time blocking. This isn't a new concept, people. I've heard it from 1,000 other attorneys, other business owners, but my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday looks the same every week. And I'm going to show you. Just a simple little example of what, my schedule looks like is sometimes I think anxiety inducing for some of my staff and my team, but this is my schedule without any appointments on. These are not appointments. This is my schedule and this is the time that I have open. I'm open for mediation clients only. I've got my lunch. I've got workouts in here. I've got partner meetings, clients, mediation consults, and then review time. And I also have time slots that when I drive, because I commute a little bit, I'll take client calls on that time. Let's maximize it. So time blocking is what really has allowed me to stay on track and hold myself accountable, to be honest, because otherwise I'm going to give my time away in inefficient doses. And so time blocking has allowed me to stay on track and make sure that I'm not giving my time away inefficiently. So keep your schedule the same. It's so simple. You wake up every day, you know what's going to happen. Additionally, I am out the office door at 5:15, so I'm home at 6 so I can have dinner with my husband and my family. My workouts are prioritized in my day in the same way that my meetings are. Sometimes they're at 4:30 in the morning, but sometimes they're at noon. At noon today, I had to get my workout in because that's my schedule. You've got to make sure that you're prioritizing your schedule first and your needs. The other piece of this is setting boundaries, right? When you're working and you're engaged, you're going to be more efficient, high quality billables, so you can move on to the next task. And I tell my team this. My staff knows, hey, I have a sign on my door. Don't bother me. If I'm not answering your team's message, it's for a reason. I'm busy. Don't come knocking on my door. If it's an emergency, then come knock on my door saying, hey, this is what's happening. I'm not going to be mad if that happens. But my team knows my schedule and they respect that, right? And so these are all of the dynamics that allow me to make sure that when I have time on my schedule that says education and training, because I'm planning on reading a book about business, I'm planning on listening to a podcast, do an MCLE, all of these things that really make a difference in how my time is spent. I also don't check emails after 5:15. I don't check them before 9 most days because that's time that I've prioritized for other aspects of my life. And if you don't set boundaries, people will take advantage of them. I know when I'm on vacation, I set up small blocks of time to respond to emails or check in with my staff. And if I go outside of those times, all of a sudden I'm being bothered more often, right? I'm being bothered. It's all coming up. And so these are the types of things that, I make sure I'm being consistent with myself because then I'm opening the door to my time being disrupted and interfered with. Part of this too is planning ahead. If you want to get away, if you want to have more time for doing things that are important to you, you've got to plan ahead. So I'm taking some time off coming up, and we had a very busy work month. We did a lot of business moves, and that needed to be prioritized. So I had to plan ahead and book a lot of client meetings this week. I was really packed. So I was a little bit more frantic so that I could have more breathable time in the upcoming 2 weeks when I need to start preparing for being away from the office. We have two attorneys on all cases so that anytime one of us is gone, the other person can seamlessly pick up. This takes the stress off. If I'm gone, my staff has it. If my staff's gone, I've got it. I want my attorneys and my staff to take the same amount of time off that I do and be able to get away in ways that, I'm not calling them asking, hey, where did this leave off? You've got to have those systems in place and plan ahead. And then, making time for family and other interests, I prioritize my personal life into my schedule. It's in my calendar, my workouts. I volunteer at my daughter's school most most Thursday mornings. Now she's in like a co-op preschool, which we wouldn't be able to do if I just worked for somebody else and they prioritize my time. The vacations I go on, the creative projects I want. Our business is working on a number of different creative projects. I have a podcast that is just fun for me. I have an Instagram that's just fun, valuable information that I enjoy doing. These outlets for me that make me the best creative individual, the best professional. I get to share my expertise in a number of different ways. I couldn't do that if I was grinding out more than 40 hours a week. I would be exhausted and not have enough for my daughter, my husband, myself. And so you have the right support system in place. You have your schedule, you delegate your tasks, you have your systems, you got these great A players. Then you can detach yourself from the day to day of the business. It should be able to run itself in your absence. And when it does, you get away. I took a really great trip this year. In March, my father-in-law took the entire family to Hawaii for 8 days. And while on that trip, I think I maybe worked a total of 6 hours. I wasn't bothered with trivial questions. There were some emergencies, but my business partner handled it. The other attorneys handled it. I was not unnecessarily bothered. And weirdly enough, we still made money and life still went on. So you gotta just do it. You don't need to be waiting until you're in your last 5 years of practice and you're planning for retirement and you're slowing down. No, you do it now. I'll have been licensed for 10 years. I'm only in my 6 years of operating my business here, and I do it now, and I've done it from the beginning. Okay, so kind of a couple different things that I want you guys to think about where you go from here and how to kind of make a big mental shift, which is that mindset. Stop worrying about tightening your belt. Figure out the right ways to invest, right? Spending money on the right people usually leads to higher profits and less stress, right? I have such a great team. I'm able to make a lot more money and pay them a lot more money because they are doing better job in their specialties than I am, on top of the other people I bring out, right? We have a lot of money going out on a regular basis, sometimes a scary amount of money. But at the end of the day, it's all coming back to us, on top of the fact that we have happy clients because they get good energy attorneys who aren't trying to constantly move on to the next case, right? Reviewing your A players again. Who are your A players? Your marketing team, your bookkeeper, CPA. These are my three favorite people, and they're my most expensive, right? Outside sources on top of my employees. And this has been talked about. I saw it in the comments, your KPIs, key performance indicators. If you don't know them, you're missing out on an opportunity to grow your business, because what I need for my business might not be what you need for your business. How much money you can invest out in outside sources and new hires, you've got to be able to pull that information up immediately, and you have to be able to see your growth. I know my growth constantly. We're on track right now and setting up for 2025. We started setting up for 2025, I think in April of this year, and all the things that we're going to do. And we're on track for, on a low end conservative estimate, to have a 30% increase next year in total profit, because we put things in place that are going to get us there. And investments to make right now: invest in people and invest in your skills. Those are things that are never going to go out of style, right? You should always be investing in skills and people that are going to come into your world and make you better and make you understand your business better. I'm so grateful to have an amazing business coach in LA and people that come around me to say, hey, you're either doing this really well, or here's places in which you need to do a little bit better or invest a little bit more time. And never, ever be too good to learn more about yourself, not only as a professional, but as an individual. I have grown more in 2024 as an individual outside of my profession than I ever have before. And there's a lot to that. It's investment in business, making really big risk moves this year, scary moves, a lot of money, a lot of things that I didn't think I was ever going to get to have made me grow. I'm investing a lot of time in my personal health. I do a lot of races, fitness competitions, things that make me feel like a competitor. And I get to spend so much more time with my daughter than I ever thought I would, as, the primary earner of my home, a business owner. She gets to grow up with, yes, a nanny and an au pair and my husband, but me actually present on a regular basis. And that's the greatest gift I could ever give myself. So I just want to remind people that my experience is one, and there's lots of people who might have been doing this for a long time, but please do not stop investing in yourself. More money out in the right places can definitely mean more money in for you. Thank you guys so much for your time. I appreciate it. Hope you learned something. Hope you enjoyed.
Chelsea, that was fantastic. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Congratulations to you and Emily and everything that you've both achieved. It's really, really, really awesome, and plays right into our next conversation. So if any of you want to contact Chelsea, you can complete the speaker rating form and ask for contact. So Chelsea, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.